My best friend's wedding after I learned I was never invited. Everyone says I ruined the wedding, according to social media. I'm dramatic, petty, and a terrible friend. But here's what nobody knows. I was never actually invited. I'm Sarah, 30 years old, and Emma had been my best friend since we were 6. We grew up together, graduated together, even dreamed about being each other's maid of honor one day. When Emma got engaged, I was genuinely happy for her. I spent months helping her plan everything. I toured venues with her, helped choose the wedding dress, addressed invitations, even spent weekends making handmade decorations. Whenever she needed help, I was there. One day I jokingly asked, "Oh, so what color is my bridesmaid dress?" She laughed. "Oh, don't worry about it." I thought she was planning a surprise. A few weeks later, I noticed something strange. All of our mutual friends were talking about bridesmaid fittings, bachelorette party plans, matching dresses. No one had mentioned me. I asked Emma about it. She quickly changed the subject. "It's just been really stressful." I believed her until the rehearsal dinner. I walked into the restaurant, and every bridesmaid was already there. Matching dresses, matching gifts, matching jewelry. There were 6 bridesmaids, every one of Emma's close friends, except me. I forced a smile. Maybe she'd explain later. Instead, she looked at me and said, "Oh good, you made it." Then she handed me a clipboard. "Can you check people in tomorrow?" I blinked. "What?" She smiled. "I figured you'd be perfect to help guests find their seats." In that moment, I realized something. I wasn't her best friend. I was free wedding staff, and what happened the next day destroyed our friendship forever. I barely slept that night. I kept replaying everything in my head. The dress shopping, the decorations, the late-night phone calls, the thousands of dollars I'd spent helping Emma, and somehow, I wasn't even worth a bridesmaid dress. The next morning, I arrived early. Guests hadn't started arriving yet. Emma handed me a walkie-talkie. "Can you stand at the entrance?" I stared at it. "You want me to work?" She laughed. "It's only for a couple of hours. My wedding planner is overwhelmed." I looked around. Every bridesmaid was inside getting their makeup done, taking photos, laughing together. Meanwhile, I was standing outside directing traffic. Just then, Emma's cousin walked over. She smiled and asked, "So, why aren't you getting ready with the bridal party?" Before I could answer, Emma interrupted. "Oh, Sarah isn't in the wedding." The cousin looked surprised. "I thought you two were best friends." Emma shrugged. "We just didn't have room." Didn't have room? There were 6 bridesmaids, and one of them had only known Emma for 3 months. Something inside me finally snapped. I quietly took off the volunteer badge she'd given me, placed the walkie-talkie on the gift table, and walked toward Emma. She looked confused. "Where are you going?" I smiled. "Home." Her face changed instantly. "What about the seating chart? What about guest check-in? What about the gift table?" I took a deep breath. "Ask one of your bridesmaids." She folded her arms. "Don't be dramatic." I looked her straight in the eyes. "I've spent months acting like your best friend. You've spent months treating me like unpaid staff." The room went silent. Several guests had overheard everything. Without saying another word, I turned around and left. By the time I reached my car, my phone was already ringing. Emma, again and again. Then texts started coming in. "Where are the place cards? The cake hasn't been delivered. Nobody knows the seating plan." I ignored every message. An hour later, social media exploded. Emma had posted that I'd abandoned her on the biggest day of her life. Thousands of people believed her, but she forgot one very important detail. She had no idea. I still had every text message she'd ever sent me, and those messages were about to change everything. By the time I got home, my phone had over 200 notifications. Facebook, Instagram, even people from high school were messaging me. According to Emma's post, I had abandoned my best friend on her wedding day. She never mentioned that I wasn't even a bridesmaid, or that she'd asked me to work the wedding for free. For a moment, I thought about staying silent. Then I opened our old text messages. There were hundreds of them. "Can you pick up the flowers? Can you pay the deposit? I'll pay you back. Can you print the menus? Can you organize the seating chart?" One message stood out. "I don't need another bridesmaid, but I do need someone reliable." I stared at the screen. She had actually admitted it. I took screenshots, blocked out personal information, and made one post. I didn't insult Emma. I didn't call her names. I simply wrote, "I wasn't a bridesmaid. I wasn't even a guest. I was asked to work the wedding for free after months of helping plan it." These screenshots explain why I left. Within an hour, everything changed. People started deleting their comments. Some apologized. Others asked Emma why she had lied. Even a few bridesmaids admitted they had no idea I wasn't included. That evening, my phone rang again. It was Emma. For the first time all day. She wasn't angry. She was panicking. "Please delete your post." I asked one question. "Why?" She hesitated. "Because everyone thinks I'm a terrible person." I couldn't believe it. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done. She was sorry people had found out. Then she whispered something that completely stunned me. "I never thought you'd actually leave." I stayed quiet. She continued. "I thought you'd just do what you always do." That's when I realized the truth. This wasn't a one-time mistake. She had spent years expecting me to put her first, while she never once put me first. I ended the call. The next morning, I received a message from someone I never expected. It was Emma's new husband, and what he told me changed the entire story. The message from Emma's husband was short. "Can we meet? I think you deserve an explanation." At first, I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. The next afternoon, we met at a small coffee shop. He looked exhausted. "I didn't know what really happened," he said. "I thought you chose not to be in the wedding." I frowned. "What do you mean?" He pulled out his phone. "I asked Emma why her best friend wasn't a bridesmaid. She told me you were too busy and didn't want the responsibility." I couldn't believe it. She had lied to him too. Then he showed me something unexpected. A screenshot from months earlier. It was a message from Emma to one of her bridesmaids. "Sarah is too nice to say no. She'll help for free anyway." I just stared at the screen. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It had been planned. She never saw me as her best friend. She saw me as someone she could use. A week later, Emma asked to meet. She was crying before she even sat down. I made a huge mistake. I was stressed. I didn't think it would hurt you this much. I listened quietly. Then I asked one question. "If nobody had found out the truth, would you still be apologizing?" She didn't answer. That was all I needed to know. I stood up. "I hope you have a wonderful marriage, but I'm done being the friend who gives everything and gets nothing back." I walked away. Months later, I heard that Emma had lost several friendships after people learned what really happened. Not because I tried to ruin her reputation, because the truth eventually caught up with her. As for me, I spent more time with the friends who had supported me from the beginning, the ones who never treated kindness like weakness. Looking back, walking out of that wedding felt terrifying, but staying would have meant accepting that I deserved to be treated like unpaid staff. I deserved better. And sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is walk away from people who only value you when they need something. So, AITA for walking out of my best friend's wedding after I realized I was never actually invited.